Hello.
How's it going, man?
Good. Just gonna go ahead and share my screen here.
I one today, I guess. I know there's a couple people out on the Q cost side.
Yeah. We'll give people a few more minutes here to join. We'll get started in another minute or two. All right, we can go ahead and get started. And I know some others might be late. Welcome everybody to meeting number 75, the OpenCost Community Meeting Series. We'll get started with some community notes. Uh, a still in process item is changing every other meeting to be at 10 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, this is still in progress. I just haven't had the administrative time to make that change and prepare the blog post and everything. So that's up and coming. But hopefully, we'll drive some EMEA engagement with a with an alternate time. Um, on other news, we've introduced the community maintainer class. So this is a way for folks who don't have the time or interest to code, can also be a part of OpenCost and do things like attend uh, conferences and evangelize OpenCost and things like that. So I linked into the uh, descriptor for that and like just some guidelines again copied from Flux. So thanks to them for setting this up. And yeah, let me know if there are any errors there or issues. But it's a great way to just facilitate collaboration. Um, Upcoming events: KubeCon EU in Amsterdam. Rajith from um, Randoli will be representing OpenCost. So we're definitely excited to have him. He's, our new community maintainer, and he'll have a 30-minute maintainer track talk and a 5-minute lightning talk as well. So we'll help him get his collateral together and help evangelize OpenCost and, show people all the great work that we've been doing here. What else? Just sort of a general action item, like I try and post the meeting invites into the channel, a couple minutes before. I bet you that a bot that like could repeatedly not spams the channel, but like OpenCost community meeting tomorrow, OpenCost community meeting in 8 hours, like OpenCost community meeting in 15 minutes, like OpenCost community meeting starting now. Maybe that will help people mark their calendars. And I also this bot hopefully can link to the shared calendar. There's a calendar where people can invite themselves in Linux, the Linux PCC, which we need to figure out. Um, yeah, so that's it for the community category here. Moving on to OpenCost infra, uh, we have a few weeks left before Nginx gets, deprecated, right? And the CVEs are rolling in on it. My understanding is that the maintainers are still fixing CVEs right now, but come sometime in March, they won't be. Um, that's pretty frightening, right? Because this is our internet gateway. So we should try and get the gateway API up. Christian, I don't know if you'd be interested in having a go at that.
I'll take care of it.
Awesome, thanks. Um, yeah, I mean, our Helm chart has gateway routes defined. So, this will be a good way to test that, but theoretically, it should be as easy as installing the, Envoy gateway itself and then enabling gateway API routes in the Helm chart. So, yeah, definitely happy to help you there. Or, let me know if you get stuck. Um, Semi-related is still working on getting some cloud costs of some kind connected just so that folks can see the cloud cost capabilities of OpenCost. Again, it's, a matter of getting an entity or person or something to agree to share their spending data with the world. Obviously, it's a hard sell, so maybe, that's going to be like a sandboxed account or something with just in instances computing large primes or something. Um, yeah, so that's it for our infrastructure. Thanks, Christian, for taking that. I'm just going to note that down. We'll work on it. Yeah, so moving on to integration tests here. It's sort of the same two open tests right now. Um, Pod restarts, which is hard because our cluster is chaotic and pods are restarting. We might just delete this test. I need to talk to Manas about it. And then the network cost test, we've been back and forth with him on this. The test is built, it's sitting there. Like we want to start testing our network cost attribution features more closely. Um, Talking with Matt about this, we can simulate cross-region traffic, right? We can't deploy a multi-region cluster, right? Our infrastructure is um, locked to the US East 1 equivalent on Oracle. So, and that's fine. Maybe we can cook config on the integration tests to, make it seem like some subset of our IP ranges are cross-region just to simulate data. Still separate iPerfs. Help wanted, we'll get to it eventually otherwise. Just a continual revisiting of our comparison tests. Um, this is something that I've raised in a number of uh, downstream channels, but we've talked about it from time to time where uh, this test deploys a Prometheus-less instance and a Prometheus-backed instance and issues the same command to both. Shout out to Sean for writing that. Um, the results are, I would use the word concerning. We're seeing some pretty healthy differences between them. And again, they both wait, they will sit for 22 minutes. So, the data isn't necessarily on different windows or anything. Just continually sort of bringing attention to that. Help wanted. What else do we have? Um, in terms of our AI work, again, we have our OpenCost AI repository, which is a Dash contributed to it a few days ago here, and in this we have a self-hosted private um, LLM from an OLAMA container, and we just need to start like building this and testing it because wouldn't it be cool to maybe have this start to drive savings decisions and stuff like that? At minimum, it's like this non-vendor locked, you know, model that people can chat with, air gapped or not, about their cost and get that agentic experience. So that's in progress. We need to, test the models at scale, try them on GPU nodes. and find the smallest viable model. And once we get the chat working, maybe we can turn the thing loose to like make savings recommendations or something. It could be a fun experiment. All right. Any thoughts on any of those sub projects? Otherwise, we'll continue. OpenCost UI. We have a few PRs here that came in. Um, So this one has been carried forward by this individual, and it adds currency conversion warning when you change. We'll let this load. We should really soup up the Prometheus instance so it's faster. But when we change, it adds this like warning. Um, I don't remember why we held this up. Uh, Group review this. So I think that this is okay to merge unless anyone has any concerns. Um, I think it makes a lot of sense because we're just doing manual currency conversion, right? We're switching it a out of the billing currency, right? And sort of doing some inference here. GitHub is going really slow today. So I don't think this is the PR that actually tweaks um, query parameters or anything, but I definitely think it's worth merging this PR. Oh, that's such a shame that it's not even really working. Oh, here it is. So it's just when the currency is not US dollars, it changes. I think this is pretty safe. I'm going to approve it unless anyone has any reservations. We'll merge that. I think that'll be a nice feature because we do have some of our open issues are indeed around currency. Well, I guess this will close one of them. So that's nice that closes an issue here. Um, so great, this was got merged. Next up is okay, so this is the other big currency selection one here. And I'm inclined to hold this. So this is by the same individual. There's a complementary PR in the back end that actually I think they linked to it further in the comments. We had asked them to build uh, the server-side currency conversion, so they went ahead and did it. Yeah, it's 2 weeks old, so relatively new. I haven't had a chance to review this. I'm inclined to not merge the front end PR until the back end is work is merged. So maybe we'll just note that down so that this person knows that only until back end merged, just so that they know we're looking at it. Cool. Um, Commented is the resolution there. What else? New is SBOM stuff. So thanks to work for this. In our workflows, we now have an SBOM generation workflow that attaches it to the release, uploads artifacts, and then attaches it to the release here, which is great. An important part of our ongoing supply chain security measures. So thank you, Warwick, for that awesome contribution. Any other UI thoughts? I don't think there aren't many issues left to triage. We just have a bunch of open pull requests by folks who are applying for our spring mentorship. So a lot of, assets page stuff here. We can just check one out just to have a look here. Nice. So that's a nice contribution and a lot of great submissions there. So just if everyone sees a lot of PRs open, most of them will be closed. It's just part of a coding challenge for our mentorship. Cool. And I just merged a bunch of debt bumps today. I don't think too much is stuck here. Yeah, we need to hit a bunch of these. So if, again, anyone is looking for relatively easy things to do, just in the terms of the dep, it's just a manual test right now. When you go, you like check that it built, right? I go to the preview, like, is everything working? Seems to be. I check the console, no errors or anything like that. So I think that, for example, this one is, a relatively safe thing. There are always a lot of date picker changes, so I just try and play with the date picker. If this was a date picker related thing, I think this looks great. Yeah, X date pickers. We played with the date picker. It works. So we're gonna merge this as manually tested. So again, all contributions welcome. Unfortunately, this is slow. I'm not going to sit there and wait for it. Uh, yeah, so that's it for the UI. Any thoughts on the UI before we move on to the website proper? Great. Did this change? No, still loading. All right. As soon as we make our time change, I'll write a blog post. Bridget, I haven't had a chance to do it yet, but when it happens, we will publish that. Um, I know how to do it in the Project Control Center. It's just Um, I have a certain amount of time allocated for administrative tasks, and a lot of it was KubeCon stuff this time. So perhaps next time. Um,
Yeah, Alex,
hi.
maybe I'll chat with you. I mean, one of the things I would like to contribute, if possible, is like support with some of the blog posts and stuff like that. And I mean, that's probably the least I can do. Maybe I'll talk to you about what's the process around that. I would love to do that.
Great. Yeah, I'm happy to give you a high level overview here and just, for the group in general, as long as,
Sure. Yeah.
uh, where is this? As long as we're all watching, like anyone can contribute a blog post, right? It's a great way to bolster your online presence. Um, so the way that um, the website works is appropriately enough under blog. We have all the different entries, right? So you sequentially, so here's our most recent blog post. So what you do if you're a new author, whoops, you add yourself in as an author with your preferred title and link to your, how people can communicate with you. And then you just add a new folder here and, write an index.md file. And,
So,
this can be straight copy paste, to get the formatting right. Yeah, what a time for GitHub to be sick. Uh, There's the raw. Here. Here's the code. So then, it's just you add this little like thing to the top, and this is how Docusource or whatever
hmm,
um, turns it into a blog post. Then you just write a markdown file, basically, and that's it. Then you merge. It's a pull request, and as soon as the pull request is merged, it just deploys to the website sometime later.
awesome.
So yeah, you are absolutely welcome to contribute, Rajith, for sure.
You're welcome.
All right, cool. Any other questions before we look at a PR here? I just have one PR for us today. This individual has made some substantial contributions here, and it's they enhanced some components on the enterprise stuff, um, fixed icon visibility for the Randoli component, font sizing. So, again, for a lot of the website stuff, it's like, all right, enterprise changes. Let's mouse over here. Like, that's nice. Now it's like selected. And if we go into dark mode, that's nice. Um, so, changes things. And if we pull up OpenCost, another tab, we'll pull up current state and contrast it. So this is main branch. It's actually side by side comparison. Actually, not sure. Oh, I see. So the visibility of these icons has been improved because on Randoli's entry, when it's dark, they're hidden. That's nice. Looks like some font
Well, I
fix.
really appreciate whoever did it.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're in favor of merging, Rajiv.
Oh, for sure. Yes, absolutely. And
Great.
my thanks to that person.
All right, great. So that will be approved. If GitHub behaves, oh, all right, I'll ping them for more. But, wait, yeah. Or individual, I've done this to them twice because as soon as we update the depths, it conflicts on package lock. All right, but anyway, we have the consensus there. Stuck PRs on the website itself. React version issues. We can deploy log here. I think Netlify will tell us it's upset about some versions not matching. So I guess, dependabot bumps one and the other needs to be bumped. So that's stuck. Help wanted. What else do we have? Similarly, we have a tailwind issue, and we can see why tailwind CSS. Okay, this seems more substantial install. So it looks like, again, depth bumps and different stuff. Help wanted. We'll get to it eventually otherwise. Any thoughts on the website before we move on to OpenCost Core? Awesome. Sean, I put a few agenda items in here for you if you want to talk about like persistence discussion and or cube model, if that's of interest. Otherwise, we can look at some PRs and maybe come back to them.
Yeah. So I guess what I wanted to discuss here, in addition to the S3 topic is, a couple of weeks ago we got some messages about um, the collector data source. Some users were finding that persistence wasn't working there. So I dug into it a little bit, and it's looking like we have some conflicting pathing issues with kind of what we're doing with the Helm chart, the OpenCost Helm chart, and what is now currently kind of being used as the pathing in OpenCost, um, downstream in the IBM FinOps agent. But to kind of get to the point of the issue here, persistent volumes were kind of first introduced into OpenCost in the form of export persistence, some sort of CSV going into an export. So in the Helm chart, we kind of have values files, OpenCost exporter persistence. That by default is going to create a persistent volume and mount it at the path slash export slash something. Then, if we talk about, historically, KubeCost, FinOps agent, the local storage path, the local dumping ground, I guess I should say, has been this slash var slash configs path. Now, slash var slash configs has never been an optimal path, to be a dumping ground for whether it be exports, all the ways we've used it. We've used it for a lot of things besides configs. But I guess this feature with the exports has been in the wild for a little bit, and part of me wants to reclaim values, this persistent values block, and use it as a kind of generalized persistence for everything, whether it be, cloud costs, custom costs, collector, um, kube model. It's kind of what we're talking about moving forward. So we kind of need a place to, put this data. And, maybe it's correct for us to have different persistent volumes for, kind of these different things. But yeah, I guess I was maybe looking for a little bit of community feedback slash a little mandate. Are you aware, or is anybody aware in this meeting of, the importance of kind of persistence with, um, these CSV exports? I believe it was a Microsoft feature originally, like
I
a
know the
collab.
Parquet exporter.
It might be Parquet.
Um, I don't know. I think it's its own it's its own chart, right?
If it's its own chart, then it's something unique to this.
So it looks like it's just a cron job
Okay.
that it's issues some sort of a command or something like that.
Um, so is it issuing the command to the like running container? I mean, that doesn't make sense. Because this persistent volume is being mounted to, the OpenCost container. I
Yeah,
don't know. Maybe
I think it's
it's not so important.
well,
But
what's that like your idea, Sean? Like, would you continue to mount? Would you mount in var configs, or like would you keep this export mount export?
yeah, right. So, um, you know, as it is today, we've kind of made that path somewhat unreachable within OpenCost. I don't really, love mount export as the name of the um, persistence path, but yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know, because certain things like when we're talking about kube model, that could reasonably be going towards mount export, but something like the collector wall files, um, not so much. Um, I wonder if we could.
Like we could always like define you can always mount the same PVC in multiple places, right? Like if you're worried about backwards compatibility issues, you could mount it at mount export and then like mount the same PVC to the proposed new location.
Oh, okay. I mean, that seems like um, that sounds like a reasonably good solution. Um, yeah, I guess. Hmm,
So is the reason that people are seeing problems is because the collector is writing its wall file to a non-persistent path, right?
that is correct.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. Um, okay. Well, I think that seems reasonable. I mean, I on the one hand, I hate to go all in on the var configs thing, but for the sake of simplicity and not causing issues later on, uh, maybe that is the best choice.
As long as, so it's hard to mount multiple things under each other unless like they're subpath mounts, right? And I guess this is doing subpath mounts, but everything under var config, hold on, var configs. As long as everything out there, we're only mounting one other thing under var, and it's a subpath mount. So you could absolutely mount this persistent volume that's kicking around at var configs, and this would then still mount on top of it, all right.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. I mean that kind of solves it. Um, or it should at least.
yeah.
I didn't know you could double mount.
Oh yeah, you can like you can mount things in 1,000 different places.
All right. Well, I guess the second facet of this kind of discussion here is, um, you know, more to do with uh, well, I guess if we're talking about a kube model pipeline, um, various pipelines, by default, persistence isn't even enabled. Um, and I think if persistence is enabled, I think we can start to, I guess, whether or not persistence is enabled, this pipeline can access the file system via our storage interface, right? Um, and if it's accessing it via our storage interface,
What do you think about like by default enabling persistence when promless mode is enabled? Like just to prevent people from shooting themselves in the foot, right? By enabling the collector and not fully understanding just how dependent it is on persistence.
yeah, I think that's reasonable. I do I do wonder if there no. I think it was fine. I was wondering if there was that is implying a bit of a configuration burden, but I think it's fine actually. Um, right. So we can have that persistence. Um, and I think if we're talking about pipelines, we got that storage interface and that we already have available in OpenCost. So, whether or not we build out the configuration infrastructure to um, allow for bucket storage. Um, that's maybe one extra step, maybe a few extra points of work, a few extra days of work, but we could route that same configured bucket to the cloud cost and custom cost pipelines too, so that it's all exporting there. Um,
And then this would theoretically be one-stop shopping, right? Like in terms of producing the data. It has still have to be consumed downstream, right? But that could be future work where like, we're producing the data and then some mechanism could be written for OpenCost to consume that data back from S3, for example.
For what it's worth, Sean looks frozen, Alex.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was me. I'm like refreshing my internet.
No, you're still here.
Right. All right. Well, we can move on and I- yeah, that was a good discussion. All right. So push pumping.
Hey, sorry about that. Not sure. You guys can hear me again? I think my
Yeah.
Zoom just kind of reset itself.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Welcome back.
Um, uh, well, I think that kind of clears things up pretty well. So good discussion.
Cool. Same. Bucket. I'm just noting down the outcomes. Yeah. Costs and custom costs. Then OC is one-stop shop export data. Yeah, and then future work query, BinGen files from S3 question mark, right? Because then this gives the collector its persistence layer, right? Like we can query historical files for stuff that happened beyond, as the collector has dropped off the old metrics.
Mhm.
Yeah. Awesome. Any other thoughts, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, this looks good. I think as the kube model kind of comes into maturity, we can, talk about pushing this out. But I think historically, even in cloud cost currently, we do have some, templates for how we might do um, this kind of export pipeline. I think yeah, I think maybe one of the only remaining questions is whether or not we want to allow for both S3 or only S3, and um, if we're going to link this up to the front end at all, if we're going to kind of determine where it's going to pull from, if the front end will even be pulling from S3 if it's making queries. But
Yeah, that I think that would be, yeah, that's probably a separate discussion. But doesn't the storage interface just abstract all the different providers, the major providers, object storage?
yeah, object storage or local storage. So
Local storage,
we'll
yeah.
we'll kind of get all that for free. I
Cool.
suppose we don't have ideally kube model could be used to generate assets and allocations for OpenCost. But that's not necessarily something that's on the roadmap.
Gotcha. But it probably wouldn't even be that hard, right? Like we have the input, we have the output, the information's the same, right? If anything, cube model's higher fidelity.
Yeah. Um, yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks, Sean. Yeah, those are exciting proposals. And yeah, I think persistence, it does sound like problems that people are having are around just persistence education and stuff like that. Cool. Thank you again. We can look at a few quick PRs here as part of our stop in the course. So we have here a contribution from our very own Hunter. So this is a Go format PR. Oh, we've been talking about this for a while, haven't we? And so it's a new workflow that runs Go formatting. Very nice. And then, of course, you affected the changes here. I think this looks good. Alan already looked at it and approved it. The new just job Go format. Is anyone against merging this at this time? Lint warnings, go vet. The tests aren't passing, but considering that you were making linter fixes, I don't think you should be liable for updating our test coverage. So I think we'll merge it. Thank you for the contribution. Oh, good. You are running it in the merge queue. Hey, very nice. Yeah, it's great. We'll let this burn in for a little bit, Hunter, and if things are smooth, then we'll make it a merge requirement. I'm totally in favor of that.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Thank you. All right. This individual has contributed a Swagger updates. So the only change in swagger.json. Let's get a link to this and jam it in a Swagger viewer. Just pull this up. Swagger viewer. All right, Swagger editor. Whatever it's called. Bring that in here. Oops. Grab this. So I lost it here. Grab this, jam it in the editor. Import URL. Okay. Parses, the formatting parses properly. That's nice. Cool. Today, range, all the parameters look good. I don't think we exposed, OpenCost has a lot of other APIs. I don't think we necessarily need to block this PR and make this individual contribute those more. But the response types are great. That's cool. Does anyone have any concerns about merging these improved docs? Cool. Right. Back out here. And it'd be cool if we had a Swagger viewer embedded into our website so people could just check the Okay, that's approved. Merge that once the test passed, although I'm optimistic since they didn't edit any code. All right, and then our last PR, I think, is again, yeah, from Hunter here. This is more substantial. gzip billing exports are the default option, and add support to check if an Azure billing export is a gzip and wrap it accordingly. Okay, so it's look like you've got some test resources here. Test sub. All right, good. You sanitized your sample. You committing a GZ file, and then decompressive gzip. Yep, new reader. Gzip that process local billing file. Open compressive gzip. Where are you checking? Oh, you're checking the extension. I think that's okay. Process local billing file. All right, and then you just refactor this into a method. Yeah. Cool. Stream need to be closed. All right. Thank you, Thomas, for the review. Do not need to be closed. Great. I agree. Comment fixes, and then a very nice little unit test here. Look at that. And then, okay, and there, this is your test collateral. There on gzip. This just looks good to me. Gzip content. All right, then you're testing gzipping. Yeah, this is great. This is good comprehensive test coverage. Does anyone have concerns?
And in the PR description, Alex, I actually have integration test output too.
Oh,
Yeah, so I deployed it, and this also has a sister PR that's in yeah. But yeah, I just give up like the environment setup, how I deployed it, and then you can see right there at the very top, cloud cost there. Oops, sorry.
sorry, I'm getting distracted.
You can see there's an error there if you scroll up just a little bit. So this is like current cube cost, right? If you try to use gzip, it fails, of course. So I'm just showing
Right.
the existing state, and then with the change, you can see the data. And then I just tested for any regressions. And then I tested both, reading the gzip from disk and streaming it.
All right. Well, if I was convinced before, now I'm doubly convinced.
Yeah, and this was a
Thank you, Hunter. That's awesome.
Yeah, customer, especially KubeCost customers run into this issue a lot, especially Azure defaults now to gzip and they forget to select none, and then they're like, why aren't my cloud costs working? There is a sister PR to that, Alex, just to keep the discussion going, and it's related to the Helm chart. I don't know if it's your next pool.
It is our next item.
Okay, okay.
Um, yeah, so that ends OpenCost Core. Any last thoughts here on OpenCost Core before we move on to the Helm chart? Awesome. All right, let's go to the Helm chart. I don't know if we specifically linked to yours, Hunter, but it's this one.
Yeah, and it aptly goes back to the discussion Sean was just having. But the current cloud integration without these health, or excuse me, without this mount path and this emptier, uh,
Yeah.
you you can't actually do a cloud integration, at least with an Azure one. Like actually,
Okay.
so this fixes an existing bug. And then the bottom two templates, HTTP route YAML and ingress YAML, I just move the manifest separators within the end statements. Basically, if you don't define those, we just generate empty templates. So I just clean up.
Oh yeah. Cool.
So
All right. Yeah, that looks straightforward. All right. I mean, so Sean, this will not necessarily conflict with you, but like you're gonna want to wrap this in a, if persistence is, or I guess you'd want to you'd want to change the volume mount. So Hunter, maybe we would want to rename this like empty var configs or something, like something like that. And then that clarifies that this volume mount is an empty dir. And
sure,
then when Sean's logic comes in, then that would click and mount path would reference the PVC. What do you think about that?
easy enough change.
I think it's more of a, yeah, just an if, conditional there. I don't know if we need to change the name of the volume mount. Uh, I think that um, yeah, if persistence is enabled, then we can
This
um,
would be this would be in one case of the if statement, and then your
yeah,
persistence mount would be in the other.
yeah,
Okay. Um, if you think we're good to merge, we'll save Hunter a little work here.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, one thing, Hunter, though, unfortunately, you are going to have to bump version. Um, sorry about that. Bump the patch, and
Okay, okay.
we require our contributors on the Helm chart to bump the patch.
Roger that.
Cool. All right. Sean can't join us today, but he sent in a few more PRs for review. I don't know if everyone has heard, but there is a new vulnerability out that on node proxy allows for code execution. So this just disables it unless the collector is enabled. So I think that this is a pretty easy one. Yeah, we'll update that. Looks like they're failing tests, so I'll make it. All right, that's taken care of. And then what else did he have for us here? Add plugins. All right, as Sean said, we could potentially we might want to wait on that one. The next one here is all right. Sean did link to that one. We already talked about it. So that can conclude our peer review. Hunter, any schema values updates for us?
I did update the PR if you click on it. I did try to do JSON refs. In my research, Helm 4 supposedly supports it. Helm 3 does not. And I've tested with both. I actually pulled down Helm 4 locally, built it, compared it with Helm 3, and I was never able to get the schema refs to actually work. Each time it was like, and the reason it's not working, Alex, it's a foul pathing issue. Essentially, Helm isn't passing in the right um, it, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not really passing in the right relative path as to where the schema file should be, if that makes sense. Um, I let Bob hammer at this for quite a while and also tried it myself and still could never get it to work. Um, I can continue to work on it. The only modifications I made to the PR since are just the ct.yaml and helmtest.yaml. And then I added a bunch of CI values, as you can see, um, so that we can start doing some CI. But I don't think we're ready to merge until I like feel confident about the JSON refs.
Cool. Okay. Well, thanks. I mean, that's huge progress. I mean, all these CI values are amazing. I'm sure we can work around it. Like, if we need to merge the like fully nested one, with no refs, then that's fine. Um, we would just want to increase our validation, I guess, right? Like, maybe enable strict schema or something to force people to go in there and like edit that schema. Otherwise, it's going to rot.
Yeah, actually, in the CI that I enabled in those workflows in that PR, it will do exactly that. Like if you, I actually pulled in the latest changes that added some MCP server updates and
Yeah.
had schema, and I could not even lint appropriately. So, where is it? If you go to the workflows Helm test, okay, that's all branches. So that's ct.yaml. I think it's uh, yes. Okay, so yeah,
Gotcha.
this
All
adds
right.
the strict flag, and then if you look in the make file, I think I add the. Okay, maybe I did not. I just. Oh, this is to run templating locally. Yeah, that's what I added in.
I
So,
think schema strict is in the schema itself, right? Or not? I forget.
it's a flag to Helm lint
Oh, okay.
dash dash strict.
Yeah, so I'm okay with strict formatting, especially since this is an open source project and, you know,
I think what you're thinking of, Alex, that you can embed into the schema is the required key. So you can
gotcha.
that keys is specifically required. The
Gotcha.
strict flag just says anything outside of the bounds of the entire schema are not allowed.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that's a workable solution. Like even if you can't do like, don't burn too much time on the, refactoring it. We'll put up CI guardrails to help, people to help this not rot.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Last item on the Helm chart, just, this is from last time. We want to implement Helm chart signing and stuff like that. Container signing, all this stuff to, further secure the supply chain. Needs research, proposals and stuff, help wanted. This hasn't changed again. We have a couple of plugins up for review, needs love. We'll get to it eventually. And then, just our last item here for the mentorship in the spring. We're calling for an OpenCost revamp. We've had a lot of interest. We've got several dozen applicants, and a lot of questions and good discussion going back and forth here. So good luck to all our applicants. Like, definitely excited to see what folks come up with. We have asked them to implement an assets page, like we just previewed with one of the earlier PRs on OpenCost UI. So yeah, stand by for updates on that. The mentorship application period ends on the 10th. So, hopefully we'll have someone selected by the next time we meet. Any last thoughts, items for the agenda? Stuff to talk about before we call it here? And a few minutes early. Awesome. Well, appreciation as always. Thank you, everybody. And yeah, great discussion this week, and see everybody in 2 weeks' time.
Hey guys, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yep.